So here we've got just a quick look inside these two kits here for some diorama accessories for German aircraft in 1/48 scale. So I mentioned this earlier on my channel about a month or so ago that I'd show you these before I started using them, and that is simply because of how well detailed they are, and I was quite surprised, and it's a bit sort of deceptive. I mean, looking at this box art here on ICM, you wouldn't think they're going to be fantastic figures, but I would describe both of these on the same level as what you'd expect from a sort of resin kit. So we'll get in the box and I'll show you what we're looking at. So starting with the oil drums and jerry cans, we've got, this is from Bronco, 1/48 scale as I said. You've got the instructions on the back, and quite well detailed. The oil drums make up with 6 parts here, so you've got the 2 halves, the 2 ends, and then you've got 2 filler caps going on the end in the middle. And you also get the pump here as well for taking it out. Sorry, I've got a bit of glare there, but there's a pump that goes in there. Just so you can see a bit better on the box here. And then all of the oil jerry cans have the etch metal spacer in between as well, which is usually missed, so that's very useful. And they've also got the 2 halves sandwiching this etch piece with the handles going on the top and then the fuel cap as well. You've got another type of oil drum as well with some large rims around it, which is in a similar fashion, and the detail is extremely good. So if we get down to it, so we've got 2 identical sprues, so we'll just look at one obviously. Hopefully here you can see the sort of level of detail that we're looking at. So you've got engrave, well, you've got actual writing there on the ends, stamped writing, which is nice to see. It's struggling to show up on the camera, and then we've got the jerry cans here as well, which have engraving on both sides as well, stamping. Sorry, on the one side, so it's got all the stamped markings running up through there. So it's a very high amount of detail, which is going to be very useful for adding to any diorama. And then, like I said, you've got the etched metal spaces there, which are pretty straightforward and self-explanatory. And now looking at the figures from ICM. These are the set that you get, and I think you've got one chap here certainly meant to be looking like Adolf Galland. I think this guy here, and this might be specifically a Luftwaffe pilot there as well. And then you've got some ground crew, so you've got 3 individual ground crew, and then you've got another chap here helping a pilot getting the parachute on. So a nice scene, you know, there's a lot going on there. I'm going to probably use all of these here and leave the 2 Luftwaffe pilots out of it for this, for what I'm going to be using it for. And then looking at the detail of these figures, I would say that they are, like I've mentioned before, bordering on the same sort of detail you'd get from resin figures, certainly in 1/48 scale. I mean, they're comparable to any of the 1/35 scale figures that I'm more used to, that I've seen. You've got good multi-part poses. All the strapping here on this pilot is extremely good. You've got very, very fine mould lines running down, so there's not going to be tons of cleanup there. The faces are very well detailed as well. There's lots going on there. And as I said, I thought these were very impressive. There's not a lot online showing you what you actually get inside the boxes. So I was quite intrigued to open these up and see what was there, and like I say, it was a surprising amount of detail. So they're well worth a look if you were interested in adding anything to a diorama. And I imagine they do sets for all the different air forces. It's not just Luftwaffe, so I would imagine that they're all of a similar quality. So it might be worth giving them a go if you're interested in anything. So that's just a couple of sets for diorama accessories for German aircraft in 1/48 scale, and would be a very good addition to any diorama. So if you like what you see there, check them out.